Hey, this is Roy Cannaday, and I'm going to be taking a look at Marvel Champions Hero Pack for Captain America. Let's see what's inside. Alright, so here we have the Captain America Hero Pack for Marvel Champions. I'm just going to go through some of the different cards, kind of show you kind of what comes in the Captain America deck, and the cards you can expect to get in this pack. And then I'll give you my final thoughts after that. So here's Captain America. Of course, he starts as Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers is cool. He lets you go get the shield, and then he reduces the cost of allies that you play by 1. So this is super good because this deck has tons of different allies in it. So he's all about getting those Avengers allies out there and being able to do cool stuff. Then Captain America, I can do this all day. Really cool because you can discard a card from your hand to ready Captain America, limit once per turn. So he's all about discarding cards to be able to stand back up and hit the bad guy again, whether that's thwarting or attacking or after you've defended, being able to go back out there and hit the bad guys. And the shield, a lot of his stuff plays off the shield. So at the beginning of the game, you can get the shield out with Steve Rogers, and this allows you to get +1 to your defense, so you can withstand some more hits. And it gains Retaliate 1, which the Retaliate's really cool because you can take those hits from the bad guy and then end up retaliating back, doing like little peck damage to bad guys as they hit you, which is super awesome. As long as you have the shield, which you should have at the beginning of the game. Several cards are going to like put the shield back in your hand or discard the shield and different things like that to do different abilities on those cards, but the shield comes into play a lot because, of course, it's Captain America. Steve Rogers' Apartment is awesome because you can exhaust this card while he's in alter ego mode, while he's as Steve Rogers, and then you can draw a card and heal 1 damage. So drawing cards is always awesome in Marvel Champions. Then there is Captain America's Helmet. This one's really cool because it is an interrupt. If Captain America would be defeated, set his hit points dial to 1 instead, then discard this card. This one's really cool, is like that insurance of like some crazy bad card coming out and killing you out of nowhere. So that one's awesome when you get that in play. And Agent 13, she's not Avengers, but she does have, when she enters play, you remove 2 threat from the scheme. So this is one that's good to like put out and play, and she has really strong thwart too. But yeah, that's in Captain America's deck there. And then Super Soldier Serum is really cool too, because you can exhaust it, generate the fighting resource there. You get 2 of those in his set there. And then Heroic Strike. This one's awesome also because you pay 6 and an enemy, and you pay 3, you do 6 damage to an enemy, and then you get to stun that guy if you used a fighting resource, which of course helps a lot with Super Soldier Serum there. And you actually have 3 of those in his deck, so you're going to be stunning a lot of bad guys with Captain America. And then Fearless Determination. This one's kind of an interesting card because you basically play it out. It costs 0. You get +1 to your thwart until the end of the phase, and then you draw another card. So it basically replaces itself when you play it out, and then Captain America is just going to have extra thwart. Of course, you're going to be thinning out your deck faster when you're playing that, but still really good stuff. You have 2 of those. Shield Toss. You can discard X cards from your hand, and then return Captain America's shield, this is one of the cards I was talking about where you're playing with the shield. So if you have the shield in play, you return the shield to your hand, and then deal X damage you deal 4 damage to X enemies. So you discard a bunch of cards to try to make the shield bounce off different bad guys and hit them and do 4 damage to each of them. This one's really good, especially when there's a lot of minions out there with high hit points. You can end up taking out a bunch of guys, but then you're going to end up having to play the shield back down again. But 2 of those. Then Shield Block. When you would take any amount of damage, exhaust Captain America's shield to prevent all of that damage, which is not too big of a deal because nothing else really exhausts his shield. So you can block all the damage and then it'll come back the next turn. So 2 of those as well, so you can prevent all the damage. That's all the stuff that you have for the Captain America set here, so you can mix this in with different things. The deck actually comes with leadership for him to work with, so we'll take a look at those cards too. So it comes with mostly new leadership cards here, but there are a few that are repeats from the core set. So the first one here is Avengers Assemble, max 1 per round. Hero action, ready each Avenger character you control. Until the end of the phase, each Avenger character in play gets +1 thwart and +1 attack. So there's a whole bunch of different Avengers allies and ways to make Avengers or allies into Avengers allies that can trigger and make all this happen, which is really cool. And being able to use allies and then unexhaust them. And it also works with any characters, so works with Captain America also. But it does cost 4, so you have to figure out how to balance that in your hand. So you get 3 of those. Then there's Quinjet. This card's interesting. I'm not sure how much I'm sold on this one, but I think it's cool nonetheless, as long as you get the very beginning of the game. After turn, place 1 time counter on Quinjet. Put Avengers ally from your hand into play for the printed cost equal to or less than the number of time counters on Quinjet. So this is really good early game. Later on in the game, you're probably not going to be using it as much, but as long as you can outlast the bad guy, you might be able to pull a couple of these Quinjets off. You get 3 of those, of course. And then strengthen numbers, exhaust any number of allies you control, draw 1 card for each ally exhausted this way. This is really cool to exhaust your guys, to draw a bunch of cards and hopefully have a super combo turn. This is really awesome when you have tons of Avengers and you can exhaust them all to draw cards and then play Avengers Assemble and be able to unexhaust them to be able to have some cool combo turns like that. You get 3 of those. And then the best thing about this Captain America set is, I mean, he's leadership, of course, but he comes with so many cool allies. So one here is Squirrel Girl. After Squirrel Girl enters play, deals 1 damage to each enemy, only costs 2. She only has 2 hit points, but it's just cool to have these inexpensive allies. And of course, she's an Avenger. And then you have Wonder Man. I think this is like my favorite ally just because the high attack value here of 3. He only costs 2 to play, 3 hit points, does 3 whole damage, but as an additional cost for Wonder Man to attack, you must discard a card from your hand. I really like Wonder Man. I mean, he definitely is really good if you have like that extra card in your hand that you're not really going to be able to play that turn. You do this to be able to play him. I think this guy's great. But of course, cards in your hand are your resources. The less resources you have, the less you'll be able to play. So sometimes you might just have turns where he can't attack at all, which is kind of annoying. So in my play so far, I've loved him though, because being able to hit for that 3 is really cool. Falcon, of course, is standard. You know, he's good stuff. 2 and 2. Look through the top cards of your deck. 3 cards from the encounter deck. You get to remove treachery. For each treachery looked at that way, you remove threat from the scheme. Every time I play this guy, I seem to not have that many treacheries on the top of my deck. But it could potentially get rid of 3. I've had to get rid of 0 most of the time. Maybe it depends on the bad guy you're playing with and how many treacheries, or maybe just what's on the top of the deck. But still cool. Really good stats, though. The 2 and 2 with 3 hit points. Good stuff. Of course, Hawkeye is in the regular set. He can ping off the bad guys. You get another one of these, but you can only have 1 per deck, so there's that. And he's unique. This is another repeat for leadership. Lets you play your leadership cards easier. Make the Call, of course, is in the core set as well, which lets you get allies out of the discard pile. And that's all of the leadership cards that comes in the Captain America deck. Let's take a look at the neutral ones. There's a new Avengers Tower card, which if all of your allies are Avengers, it increases your ally limit by 1. So this helps you get more allies in play. And then this is really cool because it lets you exhaust it to play a Avengers ally for 1 less. So that's really cool. Helps you get those Avengers out there, and it says all about Avengers, of course. And then there is Honorary Avenger. So the Honorary Avenger here lets you cost 0, and it basically turns an ally into Avengers. That kind of helps you combo with Avengers Tower to actually make sure everybody's Avengers so you have a higher limit. And it combos with your Avengers Assemble by giving more of your allies the Avengers Assemble ability, so that way you can unexhaust them with that card as well. And you get +1 hit point and gain the Avengers trait. Good stuff, good stuff. So you get 3 of those. And then there's Mockingbird, which is another repeat of the core set. Mockingbird's always cool, though. And then you get Genius, Energy, and Strength, which are all repeats of the core set, but end up going in here to make this a complete deck for Captain America. So that's basically all the regular stuff in the deck. You do have, of course, your obligation for Captain America, which is very similar to other obligations. You can flip over to Steve Rogers to remove this card from the game, or you can discard half your cards rounded down to discard this obligation. So Captain America is all about discarding cards, so ending up having to use mana out of time at the wrong time can be really annoying and can mess up your combos hardcore. And then, of course, there's the basically the minion or your nemesis there. Baron Zemo is super annoying because he has the quick strike ability. So as soon as he comes out, he's going to attack you. And then, of course, there's all sorts of Baron Zemo type stuff. Hit Squad and Hail Hydra and Hydra Soldiers, which all fit with the nemesis of Captain America there. All right, cool. Well, let's look at the other cards. So that is all the cards that come basically for the Captain America deck. But then you have other ones that can be added into a deck if you want to deck build your own way. So let's look at the aggression cards here. So you get one, you get a, basically they give you the play set of these. This is Enraged. So this is the one that goes for aggression, and it costs one. Attach it to an ally, max 1 per ally. Attached ally gets +2 strength and takes 1 consequential damage after it attacks. This will allow you to hit really hard with an ally, but your ally will be slowly hurting themselves as they do it. Still, I think this will be a really cool card, especially if you're playing with Captain America, who's going to be able to, with Steve Rogers, get allies out cheaper. Cool, and then we have Upgrade here for Followed. So attach a side scheme once per scheme, and then when attached, the scheme is when the scheme is defeated, deal 4 damage to an enemy. So this allows you to do damage by completing schemes. I think these cards are always interesting. I know some of the other cards do similar things like that. I guess I play solo a lot, so not as many schemes come out of the deck. So this is, of course, going to be more situational depending on how you play the game. I mean, I'm sure if you're playing 4 players, you're going to see tons of schemes. So this would be a really great way to do extra damage while also trying to take out those schemes. And then for protection here, we have Expert Defense, Hero Interrupt, Defense. When your hero defends against an attack, it gets +3 defense for that attack. So another way that you can just knock out any damage you'd be dealt. And then the neutral card we have here, the basic card, I guess is what they call them. 2 cost upgrade, enhanced awareness. You get to put 3 mental counters on it. Exhaust this awareness to remove 1 mental counter from it to generate a, I guess it's like science resource. So this is another way to generate more resources for the game. And then besides that, all you get is a nice little paper here, which basically just talks about the different stuff and has a cool little Captain America poster. So that's what you get in the Captain America Hero Pack. Let's see my thoughts. So this comes with 60 cards, and there is a 40 card deck in there for Captain America. I definitely think it's pretty cool how it comes with its own like built deck that you can just immediately take out of here and play with Captain America. I played several games against the Green Goblin with Captain America, and it's just interesting to see how all of his cards come together and how he plays differently from some of the other characters. It also comes with a few other cards, I think 4 different cards with 3 sets of each that you can add into other decks or maybe mix it around depending on which aspects you like to play with. And it can change things up. You can put those in decks with other heroes or mix it in if you had Captain America going into a different aspect. Like, hey, I want to play Captain America and aggression. Then you can add this card in. So you can do as little or as much deck building in this as you want, but this definitely adds a little bit more that you can mess around with that deck building stuff as well. It's leadership, so it's all about allies and stuff, and there's definitely interesting stuff there to make it so you can have more allies, and you can exhaust allies and draw extra cards. You can combo and build up your allies. That's what leadership's always been all about, is lots of ally stuff. So it's interesting to play this Captain America deck with the ally stuff. The Captain America character, I think, is super fun, the way that the whole shield stuff works. He's got a lot of like stun things where he can stun the bad guy, which can be definitely super beneficial if you're taking attacks from the big bad guy, and it'll help whoever's getting attacked first not take that damage, which is definitely super helpful, extremely helpful, especially if you're playing the game solo, just because it's like, hey, if I stun him, then I don't have to worry about him hitting me, so it makes a huge deal in that sort of game. But yeah, definitely super fun doing the whole shield thing, throwing the shield and bouncing off a bunch of different bad guys. It just feels flavorful and thematic. I definitely enjoy adding more characters to this game. I played a ton of the base set, so having a new character to play with makes it super fun to mix things up and try out that different hero against the different bad guys I've already faced again. Everything they add to this game is just going to add more replayability. So for me, I really enjoyed the Captain America set here. It's definitely cool to have more things to add to the game, give you a little bit more feel for the deck building in the game, can mix things up and change things up depending on which aspects you want to play with which characters. And I can throw Captain America in the mix and have all sorts of Avengers combos going on, which is super cool and super thematic. So hey, check out the Captain America Hero Pack, and I'm sure Fantasy Flight's going to be making tons and tons of this stuff. I really enjoyed the base game. There's going to be more of this stuff coming. So this is a look at Captain America. Hope you enjoy it.
Thanks so much for watching another Dice Tower video. If you enjoy our videos, subscribe to the channel for more fun, comprehensive board game coverage. Also, consider joining us at one of our events. Come to Dice Tower Retreat, a small, intimate gathering where gaming is king. Join us for Dice Tower Cruise, the largest board game cruise. Attend Dice Tower West in Las Vegas for gaming fun on the West Coast, or Dice Tower East in Orlando in sunny Florida. Dice Tower Conventions, the friendliest gaming conventions on Earth. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.